What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this one we have reached the penultimate episode of Mobile Suit Victory Gundam. Last time, Uso showed the Walker family his gravesite. The team went back into space and faced Fala and her new Zanuck. Lupe Chanot exploded on Arbeo's Birkenau, killing the both of them. The team pushes forward past their defensive lines, getting closer to Angel's Halo. This time, the White Ark heads to Angel's Halo and sneaks on board. Two Zanscare pilots kill each other, and Maria uses Angel Halo for the first time. So let's get into this. Vespa's defenses are far stronger than they anticipated. There are still Motorrad remnants along with Tassilo fleet on the other side of Angel's Halo. The other side contains Matema Zugan and the main fleet acting as the defensive force for the superweapon. The bells that they heard wasn't just coming from the Zanuck. It also seems to be coming from Angel's Halo as well. They wonder how this weapon was built. Uso thinks that it is the Jupiter fleet moving from Earth to Jupiter. They do have intel that Fonz is originally from Jupiter and that they were restructuring under the Jupiter Republic Alliance. Of course, we know from Crossbone Ghost that Kagari was working with Jupiter to transport 100,000 immigrants to the Earth sphere. This was a lie. After Angel's Call was deemed not an effective weapon, they decided to use Angel's Halo. Uso is mad that his dad is still treating him like an outsider, but the other kids think he is being selfish. Fake Jin wants to outdo real Jin now that he isn't getting the spotlight, even though he's relatively useless. The reinforced junior crew decides, why not? Let's launch. Their mission is to engage with the outer defense fleet. The boys chit-chat over the lines and Yuka tells them to shut up. Tassilo casually touches Fala's butt. Nice, get in there. She's going to lure Uso in so they could kill him. She then goes to the hangar and finds a guy conveniently named Kill and says today is your lucky day. You get to fire the Zanuck. Relax your shoulders. Relax your shoulders, Kill. They fire over at Uso and the gang and miss. She fires again, taking out Connie's boots. They're making Uso panic and rush in. The Zanuck approaches V2, but Fala gets out of the cockpit and heads towards Uso. She tells him that Tassilo's men came to pick her up after she was launched from a cannon. It was all for show for Chronicle and Zugan. This was an attempt to drive out Kagari, but he was discovered. Oh, that's why he was sent to the guillotine back then. After escaping, Kagari asked for Tassilo's help defending Angel's Halo. What a bold request after trying to take someone's head. Fala then flies up in her normal suit while Kill takes aim in the Zanuck. Uso didn't expect a second pilot. He dodges, but it still takes out his right arm. Fala heads back to the Zanuck where Kill says to watch out for beams. She responds by shooting Kill in the face. Your name was Kill, the writer set you up for this fate, man. That is when the Joan of Arc fleet comes in to help. Uso retreats and grabs another top and a couple of boots. He is using a technique that Walker used on him back on Earth. Uso listens for the bells. He goes high on the Zanuck while the boots go low. The boots distract her, allowing V2 to slice the Zanuck's right arm. He destroys the unit, but Fala is able to eject and flee. The White Ark preps for a long-range attack. The kids protect the ship that is going out too far on its own. They dock with the ship and finally get a visual on Angel's Halo. A team of Imperial Guard Rigshakyus investigate the White Ark. The ZM-S22SC Rigshakyu for Imperial Guard is a Rigshakyu variant designed to protect Queen Maria. This version has an added sensor on the forehead. It also has a large shoulder shield with a beam shield added, along with a metal whip. Other weapons include the Rigshakyu loadout. They pretend to be a transport ship. Two Zanscare soldiers board the ship. Marbe says, me and my baby be transporting and shit. This inspires the Zanscare man to propose to the Zanscare lady. Nice. Now kill them, Tamino, you sick fuck. You know you want to. Marbe is pretending to be pregnant, but Shakti notes that she is actually preggo. They are escorted onto Angel Halo, where they pretended to be side chicker transporters. Uso says that they met some of these people on Earth. They were a part of the cult that spread Mariaism back at the Underhook. They're going to use these people to power a Psychomu of some kind. They also just kinda infer all of this, and it is amazing how right they are. The two Zanscare soldiers make their leave. The kids go, what was that all about? You think she will accept his proposal? Oh hey look, I guess so. Some of the people look brainwashed. This place is making Shakti freak out. Maria can sense that Shakti is nearby and scared. They send soldiers to find her. They want to use Shakti to help power Angel Halo. She is anxious and wants to use the device. Maria intends to use it to make everyone forget about warfare and spread peaceful brainwaves. The Imperial Rigshakyus go back and find the kids planting what looks like bombs. That is when the White Ark says, "Eat my spooge," and shoots a gummy substance all over the rig Shakyu's face. Odello pilots the gun blaster and takes one of the Shakyus out. Uso floats over at the Gundam after pushing Shakti out of the way. He grabs the male Zanskar pilot from earlier and tells him to surrender. The pilot gets out of the mobile suit, but is hit by space debris, causing him to stick to all that spooge. The others retreat. They now have a prisoner. But Shakti once again wants to visit her mother, so she breaks him out. "This is getting old, Shakti." The two escape in the captured rig Shakyu. Uso, Odello, and Tamas chase the Zanskar mobile suit. While chasing, Uso hears bells. The Imperial rig Shakyus come in, followed by Fowla and the Gengauzo. The ZMT S-28S Gengauzo is a Zanskar new type-based mobile suit and uses a Seikomu system. This has the back engine unit, which is a remote weapon / subflight system that equips 5 3-barrel beam launchers. Other weapons include a beam rifle, a beam mace, and a beam shield. Fowla convinces the Imperial Guard to attack the Shakyu, thinking it is a stolen Shakyu. The two lovers fight. The man flings Shakti out of the cockpit. The two lovers end up stabbing one another. The man gets out of the cockpit and finds the woman in critical condition. It is interrupted by an explosion, and the two lovers are flung out into space, where I assume they ran out of oxygen. I feel nothing for these two. This one's on you, Tomino. And if we're being honest, kind of on Shakti as well. Fowla grabs Shakti. She has a new bargaining tool, so she pieces out back to Tassilo. Shakti is once again taken. The girl demands that she is taken to Angel Halo and Chronicle. A control ship lies in the middle of Angel Halo. Kagari wants Maria to go to the Saikomu control room now that the sight checkers have been put in place. He ensures that they won't be hurt in the process. No, it's gonna hurt. A team of 3 Zolots equipped with Saikomu sensors are tasked with monitoring Angel Halo's psycho waves. Maria tells all the sight checkers to come together in prayer. While on the White Ark, Uso sees images of the past with Shakti. The team eventually launches, during which Uso is reminded of a time when he totally perved out on naked Shakti. Uso tries to abandon the mission and head back to Earth. He wants some of those shock tits and is way too laid back now. Uso goes, "Everyone just needs to chill out, man. Stop fighting and start vibing." The psycho waves are really affecting Uso. He finally gets a hold of himself when the 3 Zolots intervene. Thomas and Odello cover the White Ark. "Good luck, Uso, you're on your own." Uso then realizes, wait a minute, this is a recap episode. He begins recapping the Shrike team's death.
Uso disassociates and thinks that Kibush's death is happening in real time.
He attacks one of the Zolots while in his delusions. Uso is tripping on too many recaps and existential dread. He thinks of Chronicle and get a few hits on the Zolot. He goes in with his beam saber. Finally, he thinks of Katajina. The Zolot takes out Odello's thrusters. He then launches his remaining booster, triggering Uso to activate the Wings of Light, taking out the remaining Zolot in the process. The sight checkers became confused, but ultimately they call it a good test run. Uso tells Marbei of the images he has been having. If he is able to break out of those images, then there is a chance. Kani went to meet up with the rest of the Shrike team over at the Joan of Arc, while Yuka helps with some of the upgrades on the Gundam. Shakti wants to meet with Chronicle. Fowla escorts her in the Gengauzo. Uso rejoins the battle in the V2 Buster Gundam. The LM314V23 Victory Buster Gundam includes a large mega beam cannon, a beam spray pod mounted on the shoulders, and 6 micro missile pods. Other weapons include the typical V2 loadout. Uso fires the spray gun and takes out a Zolot. He then uses the long-range beam cannon. Shakti tells Chronicle that Maria is just a puppet for Kagari, and they are going to use the Angel's Halo as a weapon. Chronicle doesn't believe her, so she grabs his gun, shoots him in the shoulder, and says, "How about now, bitch?" Katajina grabs the gun and gives her a solid gut punch. The Shrike girls are in the midst of a battle. Uso is rushing to come and help them. He senses Marbei before sensing the bells again. Fowla comes in and attacks. Yuka and Connie push forward with Marbei right towards Tassilo's ship. Marbei ejects and crashes the Gundam into one of Tassilo's ships. The reactor goes off. Fowla takes out Uso's long-range beam rifle. She notices something is wrong with the fleet and retreats. Maria and Angel Halo begin their attempt to bring forced peace on Earth through the form of extreme lethargy. Meanwhile, Tassilo boards Angel Halo and takes Kagari prisoner. He plans on destroying his giant weapon. What did you expect? You tried to cut his head off. Chronicle takes Shakti to her mother. He tries to stop Tassilo, but he takes Maria prisoner and makes his escape. Fowla returns to Tassilo's ship while Uso chases. The two play hide and seek around Angel Halo. But now that he knows that Kagari just made her a puppet, He wants to instill her as Zanscare's true queen. He's kind of cracking, which we will see more of in the next episode. Uso is taking a lot of damage. Fala goes in for the final attack. And that will do it for this episode. Man, Shakti really be making things harder for the gang on this one. Others have also mentioned in the comments that it is hard to feel for Zanscare at this point, and I agree. Making those two lovebirds' bittersweet story mean nothing to me. Next time we will conclude Mobile Suit Victory Gundam. Shakti will activate Angel Halo. Tassilo becomes a madman. Uso uses the greatest compass in the world, Carl, to find Shakti. And girls in bikinis with bazookas give Uso the weirdest boner. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, implanting boobs in one's minds is a good way to make people peaceful. Peace.